Okay, today we are going to solve the problem of surface clutter. Can you imagine a world where you never have to worry about anything cluttering up and accumulating on your flat surfaces anymore? Doesn't that sound wonderful? I have totally conquered this in my home, and I'm confident that with 3 easy steps and a couple Post-it notes that you can do it too. So grab some Post-its and a Sharpie or something to write with, and I will show you the exact formula today. Okay, I have this complete system for conquering counter clutter as a free printable as well, so you'll see those details down below. And I have a very important bonus tip at the end. I don't usually say that. I'm not trying to lure you till the end of the video. I believe the information is good enough to get you there, but just so you know, even if you want to skip ahead, I don't care. I think there's something important about stuff we put on our counters that we should deal with, but I don't want to get away from the main point. Okay, so we know how this stuff accumulates on our counters. Anytime we have a mishmash of things, whether it's in a pile on our counter, our table, or in a catch-all room or a storage space, our brain just does not know what to do with it. Our brain likes nice categories and things to be contained and to know exactly what we need to do. And this is the opposite of that. So you're not alone if this feels scary and intimidating. In past paper clutter videos, I've said repeat after me, paper clutter isn't scary. And good news, as soon as you learn this system, this very simple system, this does not have to be scary, and you can use it to conquer other areas of your house as well. Okay, so step number 1 is we are gonna divide this stuff into 3 categories. It's not hard. There's not brain power really required for this. So select a manageable amount of random clutter on any of your flat surfaces, and then we're gonna divide it into 3 categories. That's where having some Post-it notes can be really helpful. Once we have it divided, then we're just gonna zero in on each category. You're gonna see that 2 of them are actually very simple, and it's not much that's gonna be hard, but even that we're gonna make not hard. So we're gonna divide it out and then deal with each one individually, and then I have some ideas for what you do with some of the scary stuff in here, or what you've perceived to be scary. So we're gonna divide it into categories. So our 3 categories are garbage or recycling. So that's just the things like the junk mail. I'll show you some kids' artwork that nobody cares about anymore. Okay, garbage, recycling. The next is things that have a home. So I'm gonna put have home. So these things have a home, they're just not in their home. Why? Because people just set them here. Because clutter attracts clutter, and as soon as there's one thing on your counter, it's okay for everyone else in your household to leave all their stuff there too. So we know how it happens, it's fine. Okay, so have a home, and then we have the things that don't have a home. So one of the ways I can't write and talk, no home. One of the ways randomness or one of the reasons randomness acquires on our flat surfaces is because it's actually things that don't have a home, and they kind of float around on these flat surfaces until we deal with them or we get frustrated or they kind of time themselves out, and then we finally get rid of them. So we're going to solve that problem today as well. Okay, so we have our 3 categories. Again, this doesn't require a lot of brain power. It's not hard. All we're going to do now is sort this stuff into those 3 categories. And you're probably thinking there's no way all this stuff is actually going to fit into these categories, right? It is my job now to prove you wrong with that. Okay, so I have a Post-it note with an old to-do list on it. I don't need the top one with the to-do list anymore, so that goes in the garbage recycling. This Post-it notes do have a home in our house in this utility drawer. So I could either put it away quick because it's right here, or I could put it in the have a home pile. I'm just gonna put it away quick. Okay, now we have some cute little budgeting envelopes we're using with the kids. These do have a home, and so I'm gonna put that in the have the home pile, and we'll rehome that in a minute. These are some verse memory cards. These have a home, they're just not in their home, so that's gonna go on that pile. This was a worksheet the kids did. We have to keep some samples of their homeschool work, but not enough, not a ton. So I'm gonna put that in the recycling pile. This is Corbin's guitar book. It has a home, it's just not there, so it's going to my have a home. Again, here was a grocery shopping list I made before we went up to Christmas. I don't need this list anymore, so I'm just gonna put that in the old, I had 2 lists going. Gotta love a good list, right? So those can get recycled, and then the notebook has a home, and that's going to go on the home pile. If it didn't have a home, if you're like, oh, I have notebooks or notepads I make lists on, they float around, they don't have a home, like put it in the no home pile, and then we're going to solve that. Again, another list that I don't need anymore. There's really no reason to keep old to-do lists. So that's just gonna go in the garbage and recycling. This is a Christmas card we got, and I need to update our Christmas mailing list with their new address. So where does this go? So this is like a to-do item. Now for me, I don't wanna brag, but I do have a home for to-do items. So for me, I would either put it in the have a home or I would put it in my to-do container. But if you don't have a home for to-do items, and that's why they accumulate here, put it in your no home for right now, and then we are going to specifically talk about these task items that we need to do, and how if we put it out of sight, we're going to forget about it. We have a game plan for those. So don't let me forget to come back to that. All right, and then a couple books here. Those have a home, they're just not in it. I would also, like, my brain is always just decluttering as I go too. So if I would look at these books and be like, meh, not worth filling up my book spots with this, I might just to decide to declutter it or to donate it. A blank piece of paper, I'm just gonna recycle that. Some art stuff Adeline was working on but has abandoned, that's just gonna get recycled. Ooh, a gift card, that's fun. Where do gift cards live in our house? Well, if it's for coffee, I generally just enter it into my app right away. But otherwise, we keep other gift cards like restaurants and stuff on the top of the fridge in that blue tray. So this has a home, so that can go on my have a home. Father's Day card for Tom. This one was special, super cute. So this needs to go in our memory bin, so have a home, okay? Yep, another thing to go in the memory bin. This was a greeting card I got that I need to reply to. So again, this is a task item. So like I said, I have a home, but I'm pretending I don't. So that's going to go in my no home. One leftover Christmas card. Do we need it? I like to put one in our memory bin. So I'm going to put that one in our memory bin. Let's see. The manuals for my coffee maker. Where does that kind of stuff live in your house, right? So again, be honest. If a manual for something doesn't have a home, put it in your no home pile. We'll talk about that when we get there. This was like a mailing list for some things that I don't need anymore, so that can go on my recycling pile. This was the new family calendar we got, which is really fun. It has all the like birthdays and everything for Tom's family. And so this we do have a home for. Ooh, how about this? Summit Racing catalog, right? Where do catalogs and that kind of stuff live? If it doesn't have a home, put it here. We're gonna find a home. Receipts. Where are we gonna put those? So I have a home for receipts, but if not, put it in your no home. I'm gonna put anything I wanna help you problem solve, I'm gonna put in my no home pile. Again, seed catalog, where does that live in your house? We'll talk about that. Another just notebook that I like to jot notes in for videos and stuff, that has a home. Portable hard drive, like, oh, we find so many random stuffs, right? Because clutter attracts clutter. And so we think most of this stuff is scary, but if you actually look, I don't have that much stuff I actually have to do. Most of it was stuff that had a home or is garbage or recycling. That has a home. Another book, that has a home. Another list of things that I don't really need anymore, so I'm gonna put that on my recycling pile. And then a couple more books, those have a home. And then another book that has a home. Okay, so what we can do then, so we have it sorted into our 3 categories. This stuff is super easy, right? The recycling and garbage, like literally just put it into your recycling can, right? So that one done, easy, right? No big deal. And hopefully you got rid of even more than I did. Now this pile of things that have a home, now I could just go around the house and put these things away quick. That doesn't take a lot of time, energy, or bandwidth. So this, we would just say, okay, I'm just gonna go put these things away real quick. So again, another really easy category. It accumulates. It'll take a few minutes to put that stuff away, but it's not hard. I am not taxing my brain. I don't have to make hard decisions or do anything that I really don't want to. Like, that's not hard. Okay, but then this is the stuff. This is the stuff that hangs us all up. Where do catalogs live in your house? And so if you've followed me for any length of time, you know that this kind of stuff, catalogs, coupons, paint samples, contractor cards, it's not a to-do. Do I have to order flowers from this catalog? No. Would I like to? Maybe. Yes, there is snow on the ground in Minnesota right now. I would love to like flip through this and look at it, but I know I cannot leave it here on my counter, because as soon as it gets piled up and one more thing is on top of it, my visual reminder is gone. And so that's why leaving these things out, like, oh, I need to update this address. Oh, I need to reply to this greeting card I got. Leaving it out on your counter is not a solution. Absolutely not a solution. And so that's where we bring in two bins to your paper system that are game changers. I hear this from you all the time. That was like the best solution ever. Okay, so I'm gonna sort it into things I have to do. I have to reply to this card. Well, I mean, I don't have to, I want to, right? Like, this is something I want to do. I need to update this address. So these are to-do items. These are task items. These are things that I don't have to do, but I might decide to do. So I might decide to look through this and order seeds from here. A lot of times in the past, I just go to their website and look through it and then order it there. So I don't know if I'm gonna use this or not. I don't know if Tom is gonna order anything from Summit Racing. Probably he's not. He's not really working on a car project right now. And I don't know if I'm gonna need to reference, actually I did, like the new manual for our coffee maker, it needed to be descaled, I don't know. And so I actually did go back and reference this, but I didn't know that I was going to need to, and it wasn't like a thing I had to do right away when I got this. So these are all perfect things to put into your Time Will Tell bin. So a paper Time Will Tell bin or basket, I just use a thing from the dollar store, and then I store it in our blue cabinets under our computers over there, and we just see, am I going to need this again? I don't know, right? So it just goes in your Time Will Tell basket. It's off your counter. If you need it, you know exactly where to look for it. That's the key with this stuff, is knowing where to look for it. In the case that I need it, I know exactly where to look. It's contained. It does not need to be in sight. It gets tucked away out of sight. This basket solves so many problems of your random stuff that sits on your counters and collects on your counters. So this kind of stuff goes in there. So that's gonna go in my Time Will Tell basket, and then I'm just left with my to-do items. Now think back to that whole stack of stuff here. I thought it was all scary, it was all gonna be hard, it was all annoying, and it actually wasn't that much. Now, but it is important. And so where do we put our task items or our to-do items? That also needs a dedicated spot in your home. You can use any number of containers or whatever. I like a container like this. This is just from Walmart because it has a lid and it's contained. And I will often take this to our table and sit there at the counter, on the couch. If you're watching a show, you can take it with you. I keep envelopes and stamps and a pen in here if there's anything I need to write out. So I put these types of things in my to-do bin here. So I put them in, and I know what you're thinking though as I'm doing this. I can read your mind. But Dawn, I am gonna forget about that. Because I just put this bin again over under our counter over there, and I know what you're thinking. Out of sight, out of mind, right? I absolutely know, I understand that. So this then needs to get added to my task list or my to-do list. Now, some of you keep a paper to-do list, that's awesome. So I would put on there, update address, and send a reply note to Karen, okay? So I would put that on my task list, not like I don't want it to have to sit out as a visual reminder. It needs to go, if it needs to be done, it has to go on my to-do list. So I like to use the to-do app. I have a whole separate video about that. I will link to that. But any way that you do that, so you can either put it on your task list as individual items, and then you'll do it as you're checking off things throughout the day, or you could just have on your task list, go through to-do bin. So, you know, ideally we set a time once a week where we go through these types of things, whether it's something we need to mail or sign up for or register for or any of those types of random household tasks we have to do. We just schedule a time weekly to go through it. So you can do it that way. You can add each thing to your task list, but we cannot rely on this stuff sitting out on our counter to be our visual reminder. I know I hear that from you so often, but I'm gonna forget about it. So it has to sit out, or I am going to forget about it. That's not a trustworthy system, because again, anytime, like look, I put my coffee manual on top and now my visual reminder is gone. When things are stored horizontally like this, it's not effective. You only see the one or two things on the top. And so this is not an effective way to manage task items. And the other problem with it is if this is sitting out on the counter, it is just a matter of time before all the other stuff gets piled up around it, right? Clutter attracts clutter. And if you leave one thing out, two things out, then it's just a matter of time before it all gets buried. Sometimes it's our family, sometimes it's us, right? I'm just quick straightening up. Oh, fine, that's a catch-all spot. I'll just toss everything there. No, we want to have each thing go to its home and for everything to have a home. Now, let's say you're just coming across some like random things. Let's see, what randomness do we have in here for an example? Okay, so let's say you come across like a little baggie of random screws. I don't know if you can see that. Random baggie of screws. I have no idea what this is for, and I don't want to waste a lot of time on things like this. So if it, like this, well, I want to say it's Tom's, but I don't know. It could have been from a toy. I don't know. So things like this, I'm okay with tucking them in our utility drawer here or putting them on top of the fridge. That's where I put little things of Tom's up there. And then once it starts to get overflowing, then we go through it. But I'm okay tucking it away to time test it for a little bit. Everything has to have a spot. So where is my spot for little random things that I have no idea, whether it's a random piece or it's a little thing, I'm not sure if I'm gonna fix it or not. I'm okay at putting that in this drawer here, our utility drawer. And then over time when it's like, oh, it's creeping up, there's starting to get to be a lot of things in there, then we go through it and I'm like, okay, this little baggie has been in here for 6 months. No one has used it or claimed it. Now I feel comfortable throwing it away. We could also ask people in our household or whatever, but this works well. It's kind of like if anyone's looking for any little weird thing, they know to look in here for it. Or if I'm pretty sure it's Tom's, then it goes on top of the fridge. So even random weird things, they do have a home in our house. So everything has to have a home. And if I come, across something and I'm just like, I don't know, like a charging block thing, do I want to create a home for that? Do we need to keep it? Like, I don't think it's worth finding a dedicated spot. I'm not going to remember I have it. This type of stuff, then I just try to throw it away right away. It's a duplicate, it's unnecessary. I just can't imagine a time when we're actually gonna use it. This kind of stuff I let go pretty quickly because this is what really clutters up our house. So you decide of this no home stuff, do you want to create a home for it? Is it worth creating a home for or is it not? Okay, there was one category of things too. I also have like receipts here. Like these are for taxes, right? Like I need to keep these receipts. And I noticed that they were never getting put away in our file bin where receipts go. So I have like just a small white bin over by my desk over there where it's kind of like an intermediary stop for receipts. So if you have a home for things, but it never makes it there, and we're collecting data like, okay, I probably need a closer location for receipts because I come across them fairly often. And so as soon as I had like that extra white bin for receipts, then that solved that problem and there was never receipts floating around anymore. So sometimes things have a home, but it's too far away, it's too inconvenient, and so we might just need to make a closer home for it. Okay, so this stuff gets tucked away. This goes in my time will tell bin. These are my task items. This goes in my to-do box. This I don't need here. My receipts go in their bin. This was more time will tell. And it actually wasn't that hard. Understand that there is a system and a formula, but my bonus tip, this is really important. Let me clear this stuff out. Okay, now let's say on your kitchen counter or your table, that any flat surface really that tends to attract clutter. Let's say you have a little tray of stuff, but it's functional, it's useful. It's the stuff you use every single day. It's contained in a tray, which is really nice. So I have napkins, salt and pepper, butter. And so you're like, well, it's really practical to have this out on the counter. The problem is that even this will attract extra clutter. This little tray, I mean, it's like just begging for like a pen to get tossed there or a chip clip or a paper clip thing. It's so hard because it's like our brain, and Cass talked about this recently too. Our brain is saying like, oh, there's already stuff there. It's fine to put other things there. And we have to constantly like fight against it. Like, no, this is the stuff that always sits out. This stuff doesn't actually go there. But again, people in our household, sometimes even us when we're busy, we're like, yeah, we'll just put it, or we're kind of cleaning stuff up to make dinner. Like, we'll just shove it over there, right? And even this, which is functional and useful, can still become a clutter magnet. And so what I recommend is that you don't have to go away from this forever, but if you are really trying to get in the habit of keeping your flat surfaces clear and you're trying to instill that in your family or other household mates as well, try going away from this for just a little while. Try totally clearing off your kitchen counters and your flat surfaces, your coffee table, your end tables, for just a little while. Put away any decor, put away anything that normally sits out so that your brain knows anything that's out at the end of the day needs to get put away. Your brain does not have to think about it like, oh, nope, that stays out. Oh, wait, nope, there's a chip clip. The chip clip needs to get put away. The rest, that stuff stays out. It's more work for our brain. Instead, if we're just like, nope, all of this should be clear, all of that should be clear, that table should be clear, that table should be clear, it's so much easier for our brain, and then we don't have a clutter catcher right in the middle of our flat surface. So if you would really think about this and just be willing to test it out, again, it doesn't have to be forever. I think once you get the flat surfaces like habits instilled in you and in your family members, I think something like this can come back. Maybe you have like a lazy Susan on your table or something like that. Decor, I think it can come back successfully, but for a little bit, you might want to try just putting all of this away and just test it out and see how it goes. The other thing that's been helpful for us, because our table over here would collect clutter all the time, is we would play like the table's lava. Like, you may not set anything down on there, and we had to be really strict with it for, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks, but then the habit got instilled and it wasn't that big a deal. And then lastly, this is kind of turning into 3 tips. I don't know. So tip number 1, nothing on your flat surfaces. Tip number 2, the flat surface is lava. I guess not everybody knows this. It's like a game the kids play, like the floor is lava, and they try to jump around on furniture and pillows to not touch it. Table, counter, lava. When you come in the door, you may not set anything on here. Stuff that needs to go to the time will tell bin goes there. To-do items get put in the to-do bin. Everything gets put away right away. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 then is to create the habit of straightening up these spaces every single day. So if you will work to clear off your flat surfaces every day, it's just really not physically possible for much to accumulate, and then to put it away really isn't that big a deal. It feels hard in the beginning when we're starting with a big pile of stuff, but if you will work on doing this every single day, you'll find that it's very little that accumulates and it doesn't take a long time to clear it off. And so those have definitely been the tips for me that have helped us to not have clutter, to not let it collect again, and to be able to maintain clear flat surfaces. Like, really not a big deal to tidy up at the end of the day. And that feels really good because, again, like I said in the beginning, our brain hates randomness. It hates a mishmash of categories. It hates anything that's not all one. It wants, if something's in a pile, it wants it to be a pile of all the same things. Like, our brain just loves order. It's not good at remembering things. It's not good at categorizing things on its own. It just wants that done for us. So even by pulling out our to-do items, putting time will tell stuff where it goes, it is such a kindness to our brain, because when you go to sit down with your to-do bin, it's all to-dos. There's no sorting. There's not as much thinking. You're going into it knowing these are tasks that I need to do. And so it's such a kindness to our brain as well. Okay, well, I would love to know, get this clutter out of here, right? I don't even like seeing it on here now that I'm so used to having clear surfaces. Free printable down below with this if it's helpful for you to kind of have a reminder in front of you. And then I'll definitely link to the video I did about the To-Do app and how to use that successfully. This is a game changer. I hear from so many like how much they love this now, and they were die-hard paper planner people in the past. So I will link to that video as well as my most recent video on paper clutter, really getting these systems set in place for a time will tell bin and a to-do bin, to-do box, basket thing, whatever you want to call it. All right, well, I love you. I'm very grateful for you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing these videos with your friends and family. I am so humbled and so grateful for you. So thank you for that as well. But I hope you have a really good day, and I'll see you again soon.